Karma's impact on Britain, the price of colonialism and modern reckoning. The legacy of British colonialism is one of the darkest chapters in world history, filled with exploitation, violence, and the plundering of resources from nations across the globe. Take India, for example. Once a flourishing civilization contributing approximately 25% of the world's economy, India was systematically stripped of its wealth by British colonial rule. When the British Empire finally left in 1947, it left behind a fractured, impoverished nation struggling to recover from the scars of centuries of exploitation. But Britain's colonial misdeeds didn't stop there. The empire's reach extended across Africa, the Caribbean, and Asia, where it instilled division, racism, and a legacy of economic and political instability that many nations are still trying to overcome. The impacts of these actions are felt today in countless regions, as many former colonies continue to grapple with poverty, conflict, and injustice, all rooted in centuries of British oppression. Fast forward to today, and we see the rise of social and political turmoil within Britain itself. Rising tensions surrounding immigration, the shifting cultural landscape, and the growing influence of Islamic communities in the UK are not isolated incidents, but part of a larger global shift that many see as karmic. Some argue that this demographic change is, in a way, a reckoning, a direct consequence of Britain's long history of imperialism and the abuse of power. In recent years, the UK has been rocked by incidents that reflect deep societal fractures. From the tragic effects of the Iraq War, which Britain played a significant role in under the leadership of Tony Blair, to the Brexit referendum that revealed deep divisions in British society, there seems to be a constant tension between the past and the present. The war in Iraq, which many view as a direct extension of British imperialistic interventionism, led to massive loss of life and destabilization of an entire region. It's a stark reminder of how Britain's past imperialistic policies continue to shape its global role, and how the consequences of those actions still reverberate in today's world. The rise of Islamophobia, the controversies around immigration, and the increasing tensions between various cultural and religious groups within Britain can be seen as part of a larger narrative. One might argue that the rise of Muslim communities in the UK, for example, is not merely a demographic shift, but a karmic return, a sign of the very people who once faced the oppression and violence of British colonial rule now making their presence felt in the heart of the empire. The colonial wounds are not just in the lands Britain once controlled. They are now reflected within its own borders. This is a sobering moment in history, a reminder that the injustices of the past do not disappear. They transform, they evolve, and they return. What we are witnessing is not just a demographic shift or a political debate, but the manifestation of karma, the world's response to centuries of imperial domination, exploitation, and oppression. As we stand at this crossroads, let's take a hard look at the history that shaped today's world. The atrocities committed in the name of empire are not just stories from the past. They are alive in the struggles and tensions of today. Britain, as a nation, must reckon with its past if it hopes to understand the forces shaping its future. History has a way of coming full circle. The rise of new powers, the shifting of cultures, and the awakening of those who once suffered at the hands of empires all serve as a reminder. What you sow, you will reap. The question now is whether Britain is prepared to face the consequences of its actions and make amends, not just with its former colonies, but with its own people. Reflect, learn, evolve, and most importantly, subscribe for more fact-based, eye-opening analyses of history and the global forces shaping our world.